Yes, what we are looking at here is my most recent acquisition. It is a 1991 Compaq Deskpro 386s 20. I just recently got this computer from a colleague who was moving and he had to get rid of a bunch of stuff. And so when he offered up the initial two machines he gave me, which was a Moondog Computers tower and some AMD K6 thing that I'm selling the case from right now on eBay. Of course, I couldn't refuse, especially when he mentioned he had a 386. Yeah, if it's anything beneath 486, I'm going to definitely snatch it up. I'm trying to keep this a little quiet because, it's in the evening. Anyway, a little bit about this computer. So, me and the Compaq Deskpro go way, way back. I used to have a GEM Computer Products computer that had a similar case to the original Compaq Deskpro, which I also had one of those many moons ago and regrettably sold before I moved. However, I always liked Compaq's early machines. They're well made, they're very solid, they're very good performers. This one's no exception. This system, when I got it, it was in a bit rougher shape. Just to rattle off the specs, it still has all the stock parts in it. It's got 10 megs of RAM, two 12 megabyte hard drive, the original, which still works. This very rare 1.2 meg, 5 1/4 SLIMLINE floppy drive, SLIMLINE 3.5 here. I think it maybe had a CD-ROM at some point. When I got it, this cover plate was missing, so I had to order a new cover plate, and of course my favorite PS2 mouse of all time in the Compaq branded variant. I also have the NEC one for my Versas/Ready. So that was the only work I really had to do to it. I did have to replace and do the hack to the CR2032, which took me a couple tries because I had to really stake that heavy wire I used into it to hold that CR2032 battery holder in it. And then I went and had to run electrical tape underneath the drive cage in here so that it would actually wedge that in, which is probably good. It actually keeps it solid and it makes sure the solder joints don't come loose. It keeps time. It is Y2K compliant, so yeah, it knows the year's 2022, which is kind of amazing for a almost 31-year-old computer. Works with LEDs, has that neat little compact feature where you can hit Control Alt plus Alt and plus and raise the clicker volume on the keyboard. Of course, came with the original Enhanced 2 keyboard. Not too terribly yellowed. But the coolest thing about this machine is it actually came with an Evergreen Technologies upgrade chip. Months before, I'd seen Adrian's Digital Basement got something kind of similar, and it was this press fit upgrade for 386SXs, and I think even it works with 286s. I don't know for sure, but it basically presses over the top of a stock surface-mounted soldered-on 386SX CPU, effectively turning it into a 486SX. You'll probably see more of this machine after this video, but I wanted to kind of talk about the cool thing that I discovered about this chip. So when I started running this thing, I noticed it was running pretty darn slow. A lot slower than I was expecting out of something that had a 486 upgrade CPU. You see, I didn't realize it needed a driver loaded to actually, and that's actually what this disk is here, and oddly I had to format the 720K so I could actually install the drivers. It's the Evergreen Rev to 486 upgrade, and it actually does have kind of an amazing thing. And anyway, now we'll just look up at my multi-boot menu and talk a little bit about my boot options. So as you know, here at the Creeping Network, we constantly do odd shit to these old machines to basically make them as versatile and as powerful as they can possibly be for a machine of their respective generation. So I learned some things about the Evergreen CPU upgrade. And I don't know, maybe this will help Adrian too, because I don't know if he ever got his chip working. I got mine working, and holy crap, this thing's awesome. So as you see, I have entries. The Evergreen upgrade uses one of, I think, 2 or 3 chips, and they were these chips marketed by IBM that were 486 compatible because they were licensed by Intel to make their own versions of x86 IBM compatible processors and make their own alterations to them. This is the 486 BLX. Well, 486 BLX3 is actually what it's supposed to say, but I probably typoed that when I did the config.sys. It's 486 BLX3, which is effectively a 486 SX4 if it was an Intel chip. And it's a 75 megahertz 486 Blue BL, and the BL stands for Blue Lightning, which is the nickname given these chips. And quite a reasonable name given to them, because this thing doesn't really acts different when it's acting as a 386SX compared to when it's acting as a 486SX at 40 megahertz or 60 megahertz. So let's go take a look at this. We'll just run it in 386SX mode for right now. So right now we're booting up all my drivers, my SoundBlaster. Yeah, upgrade this thing with a LinkSys EtherFast Ethernet card and a SoundBlaster card. So anyway, we're going to kind of go down here. I'm going to kind of show you all the driver really needs to actually work. So as you can see, I have multiple configurations up here. Very top gives me old school MS-DOS shell, which I'm really nostalgic for because the first DOS computer I got really good on was my sister's 386. I don't remember the specifics of it other than it was an AMT branded tower. This one's 386SX20, which is actually 5 megahertz slower than the original CreepingNet one was before I put the board in it that made it that. 486, clock doubled, and clock tripled, oddly enough, runs at 66. So anyway, we're going to kind of look at this. Of course, I have network running in full blast, and I have 3 of these down here for top bench, so we can take a look at what top bench shows for the CPU. Anyway, if we scroll down here, well, actually, DOS shell doesn't have the driver yet. I haven't added it. If we go here in 386 mode, you'll see there's an absent entry here. It says device equals C:/rev2486 rev2486.6/BL/CN, and this one is set to /2. The /2 or /3 is the clock multiplier for the 486 chip in there. It can be set to 2 or 3. I may even be able to be set to 1, which would just be making it essentially similar to the 386SX, just with a 16K level 2 cache and running at about 20 megahertz. Which probably puts it a little bit below an NEC Versa, NEC Ultralight Versa PC 400 model. Down here, of course, you see that the clock speed's now been set to 3. This is it running in DX4 mode. It's going to kind of show off the different performance parameters of these by showing off some games and showing off how all 3 boots run in top bench. Now suspended on janky camera mount, we can take a look at what a few games and software run like on here. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and start up in 386 mode first, and then we'll do clock double mode. But let's start by looking at the top bench benchmarks, just so we can kind of see what it says about each system. So right now it's booting MS-DOS. So we're going to start in 386SX mode down here. / We're going to go into top bench. And I'm going to kind of hit the lights So now you can see we're scrolling through the database, which you'll probably see go progressively faster. And then we're going to go to benchmarking. And as you can see right now, machine's running as an 80386SX at 25 megahertz. Somehow, I think having that chip in there causes it to run faster than it's supposed to. As you can see, it places our benchmark between two familiar systems, the HP OmniBook 430 and the Dell 325SX, which I used to have a Dell 325SX way back in the early days of the creeping network. Tandy 2500SX25, which I'm guessing is a 25 megahertz 386. I've been trying to kind of add this to it. As for video, it says matched system detail. Well, my memory is running at about 250 parsecs, I guess. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, this is kind of what you'll see here. Make of that what you will. But it matches up probably the most with this one, which was the Tandy 2500SX25, which has a 25 megahertz Tandy 1000, which for a 20 megahertz compact, that's pretty good. PVGA 1A 16-bit VGA graphics, but this one says 512K. I think this computer only has 256K for the graphics card. Trickster was the submitter, the guy who made a 8088 corruption. And it has a Phoenix BIOS expected. It's a Tandy. Anyway, we're going to kind of get out of that one. Now let's take a look at what it says about it running in clock doubled mode and see where it places the machine in clock doubled mode. Yeah, and I record it this way so you get all the retro computer sounds for your listening pleasure. Alright, let's go down. Now we're going to run in clock doubled mode. As you can see there, the driver loaded, and you can see it really flies now. Yeah, you try typing on a keyboard. See how much faster that list goes through? Holy moly. Introduction, let's go to benchmarking. And you see it's ticking along a lot faster. Score is a lot higher. It's actually scoring above a Compaq ProLinea with a 486SX25 in it, which is pretty darn good. Of course, as a Desk Pro, you should expect it to outdo the ProLinea. The ProLinea was a consumer model. The Desk Pro is like the professional workstation model. IBM PS Value Point 325STS. Type code 6586382 C41. And just slightly out-edged by a 386 DX40 clone. So yeah, and that machine has the IBM 386 SLC 8K K-byte level 1, 25 megahertz. High Treason was the submitter, and it just has a Cirrus Logic CLGD5422 VISA 1 megabyte Super VGA card. IBM BIOS, of course, and 8 megabytes of EDO RAM. So one thing I always loved about those IBM systems is they really love their EDO memory, even when they're a 486 or even a 386. So that kind of shows us what we're getting in benchmark. Now we'll go see where we fall now with clock tripled Blue Lightning running full tilt as we listen to them power on self-test for probably the millionth time that you're going to hear it in this video. And then after that, we're going to kind of take a look at a run of a few games under each processing thing. So now we're going to run full on. And you notice it says 66. And you see even that was even faster than before. We're going to go ahead and go in here. Top bench. Wah, wah, wah. Now that's some screaming speed. Real-time benchmarking. Now it's really clocking along. And now it's got a benchmark comparable to a Dell Latitude 433C. So a color 33 megahertz 486 Dell Latitude. And that machine that's the machine it matches up with, just above a Toshiba T4700 CT. Kind of interesting, this thing's competing with laptops and an ESA FT486 above it. So if we look at that ESA, which it's not letting me look at, so the Dell Latitude would have been just VGA 256K, DOS lives on from VC Fed, and then you got the Phoenix BIOS and 486 SX33. I'd say we're doing pretty good if we're getting this kind of benchmark. Now we're going to go into my standard DOS gaming setup. Just to kind of show you what I've got here. Let's put on this light. And mind you, I might have to halt the video at any time. I'm on call this weekend. I'm going to kind of swing that out of the way. Got my PC ProPad 4 gamepad. That's what we're going to be using for a controller. And it thinks it has a keyboard error because I've been leaning on the F1 key the whole time. So we're just going to power cycle it real quick. Yes. The Compaq kind of has like an automatic 5-second thing, so you don't have to count to 5 seconds. You just flick the switch once, flick the switch again. Of course, the Compaq mouse I mentioned. So that's my peripherals that we're going to be using. And, of course, we have the SoundBlaster 16 value in here, I believe. It's either that or the Vibra 16. I think it's a Vibra 16, actually, on this computer. So, yeah. You get looking at it. Here we go. So we're going to start in 386SX mode and keep moving to the faster and faster modes and kind of show you a little bit of everything. So first off, we're going to avoid games, showing it with games that have speed throttling built in. So no Monkey Island, no none of the Sierra specific stuff where I can't show speed. So we're going to do mainly 3 games here. I'm thinking the 3 should be Wacky Wheels, Wolfenstein 3D, and Ultima 6, because those 3 tend to show performance the best, in my humble opinion. I'm not going to do Doom. I haven't put Doom on this computer yet. I have Wing Commander 2, but I'm still fighting with the janky memory management on that particular title. So let's start with Ultima 6. We're going to go directly into my game. Hear the internal speaker sound and SoundBlaster. So here's what it runs like. I'm literally pressing and holding the keys to walk around. So this is Avatar walking at full speed. Whatever. Anyway, as you can see, walking is... This is probably about where Richard Garriott and the Origin team probably intended Ultima 6 to run like. I also vaguely remember it playing kind of like this on my sister's 386 back when I was a kid, so kind of nostalgic, but at the same time, not what I'm used to, because I'm used to playing this on like DX4s where things just scream along. Oh, and another game that might be good to show would be Test Drive 3, because that one's really affected by system speed. So yeah, so we'll show that one. So next we'll show... I deleted it. So, let's try Wacky Wheels. And I've never run Wacky Wheels in 386 mode, so this could be absolutely freaking horrid. Oh yeah. I don't have the blaster environment variable set, I guess. Whatever. A220 5 D1 5 3 P330 There you go. Little trick. If you mess up your typing, you can set your environment variables that way. Anyway, we're going to do this. We're going to see how it runs Wacky Wheels. Which I've never done before. Yeah. So set the last 220 I5 D15 330 T6. There we go. And then we'll do it. And this should work. Let's see. Yep. This is it in 386SX mode running wacky wheels. You can see the frame rate is absolutely horrible. Oh my god. That's not too bad though. So it runs, just not happy on wide high action movement. So we're going to exit DOS. So it kind of shows you what it runs like as a 386. And now we'll go to one more. Here's another one everybody likes. Wolfenstein 3D. And this is really where it starts to tell with Wolfenstein. And yeah, I know it's flickering, but come on, we're authentically doing this on a real CRT. Performance isn't too bad. I mean, this is how I remember it running on my... Oh, you... Yeah, so I used up almost all my ammo fighting that guy. Alright, stop. Hi. But yeah, you can kind of get the idea. So it runs pretty decently. So now we're going to reboot. And now we're going to run it in DX2 mode. Gonna flash and flicker that screen. We're going to boot into DOS mode. Now we're going to run it the 40 megahertz speed there. Let's see here. Such games. There we go. So now, as you can see, Ultima 6 boots up a lot more instantaneously. This is about the speed where it starts to get comfortable for me. And as you can see, we can run around a little more. I mean, that's how much difference just having that 486 makes. So, and this is clock doubled. This isn't even the CPU running flat out. Now we'll use such games. Let's go to, God, why can't I think of it all of a sudden? Probably because it's late. Anyway, yeah, so the last game I was trying out was Wacky Wheels. I think this one has Set Blaster. If it doesn't, I can add it. There we go. Yeah, this one has Set Blaster. Now we'll see it run at proper speed. Quite an improvement. We'll turn that music down. See how much better the opening screen is. And the keyboard's much more responsive. All that kind of stuff. So then we're going to kind of flip over to this. Now I have the gamepad. Start a new game, bring them on. I got schooled that last time. I've been playing this in easy mode and just trying to get used to the structure of things. This time I'm on the PC ProPad 4, but you can see how much better this is now since I've redone it. I don't need that health. So there we kind of look. Yeah, you can see the animation of movement is a lot smoother now. Things are a lot more snappy. I feel a lot more comfortable playing this because I like moving at a faster pace. So there you go. Now time for DX4 mode. Come on, come on. Right. Now we'll run it in DX4. Processor's operational. You can see it really flies now. Let's see how fast that runs. This is the hard drive seems to go faster. So now as you can hear, audio is way too quick. You can see we're really clocking it. Oh yeah, a little secret about Ultima 6. If you really want to fly, use the mouse. I don't know, but it just handles mouse input that much better for speed, raw speed. Of course, it kind of sucks for precision unless you're really good. I just poisoned my guy. Anyway, so that gives you an idea of what that one plays like. Now I'll play Wacky Wheels. So now as you can see, it's pretty much running at full speed at this point. See, the animation's even smoother now. And everything's about as responsive as I usually want it to be, so. And now Wolfenstein 3D. As you can see, it's even quicker now. I mean, I pretty much hit a button and it just goes. So now we're gonna, and you see it's loading up even faster now too. This video is only 20 minutes long. This is one of my shorter computer videos, it seems to be. As you can see, it also makes the games a little easier when they run faster because you can be more aggressive. Yeah, look at this. Make Blackowitz really run. Yeah, I know I'm wasting bullets. I'm not the greatest FPS player ever. But yeah, as you can see, in about the same amount of time as it took for me to get that far. So there we go. Anyway, hopefully it kind of shows you what the beauty of such a rig is, because today, one of the major discussions that a lot of us have about these retro computers like this Compaq and many others. Let me flip that light on. One of the things of much discussion amongst us is how many machines do you need, and what works for you, and what works for other people, and how many you need. The beauty of having a system like this is that basically I practically have 3 machines in one. I have a 386SX that behaves much like the 286 that's in my closet. I have a 486, really low-end 486, early level 386 like the original Deskpro 386. It's kind of how it performs. And I have a fast 486 system all in this one. Now we're going to kind of exit out real quick, and we're going to discuss some other things. So, in light of me with retro computing, I don't just do this just for the games, even though obviously games are a big part of the reason. Another thing I do this for is experiment around with networking and visit the old style internet, you know? So, you know, I can kind of show you why I would want this extra speed outside of just gaming, and it would be this. So I can connect up to a TCP/IP network with this machine. So you can see where mouse driver, SoundBlaster being loaded. That goes into there. Now I got that. Now we're on the network. So yeah, that's the other thing I use this stuff for. Anyway. So I have to use Arachne on this computer because Arachne actually works without a coprocessor. And as you can see, it boots up pretty quick on here. Yeah. Of course, unfortunately, the original creators of Arachne have long since gone by the wayside, and now they're an aerospace company in Czechoslovakia. Yeah, I filled the keyboard buffer. There you go. Let's go to google.com. You can see my entire internet history on this machine. Yeah. There's Google in 16 color VGA. So yeah, it's pretty quick at rendering stuff. So yeah, that's kind of what I use it for. Surfing the internet, downloading files, visiting bulletin board systems. I might talk about that in another video, and a lot of other stuff. Anyway, stay tuned, because I'll have more computer content and certainly more guitar content, because I've always got something crazy going on around here. This is CreepyNet, signing out. See you next video.